Hello, my name is relatively unimportant because this video is about you being everyone in the world. Then it's the 1% and the 99%, everybody. I'll have a picture of me in my slides. I'll get to it. And let me find my slides. There we go. Put this to full screen. What am I talking about? Why is it about you? Well, in the upper right-hand corner, you are most probably, if you're watching this, you're the 99%, and the 0.0001% think tanks are watching this too. Why? Because look at the lower right-hand corner, the new quantum financial system. Well, what does that mean? It isn't as complicated as you think. Tesla made the statement. Let's see if I can get to where I quote Tesla. That's actually way at the bottom. Press end. Dunk. Tesla made the statement that all things are waveform. And energy's waveforms and the energy oscillations is what communications ride over. And the digital data is a approximation. If you look at the upper middle, the epoch, net of money formed by time cycles syntax, that's a waveform that's estimated, digitized, if you will. So that's pretty much it. The net of money is formed with epoch time cycles. And in those cycles, syntax is processed or parsed, as it was said in the old days. And that's basically what you have to work with. And you have to have energy to form a circuit, a link on the internet. You pretty much know that. The reason I'm bringing this up, I'm trying to impress upon you, it's simpler than you think it is. And it's the key to organizing our mundane world. End state is, I'll just jump ahead, way far ahead. End state is back to the beginning, where at one point in the future, we're going to be telepathic and we'll send symbols like the psychics do. If you've ever had a session with an intuitive or a psychic, they'll tell you that. But I digress, getting ahead of myself, as always. I'm Aquarius rising, and I have a mystic yod. So this is part mysticism, this is part metaphysics, and it's part physics, and it's part internet. As Tesla pointed out, it's all created by one, let's say, well, Edgar Cayce called it the first cause. And everything's energy in different frequencies, resonances, and rates of vibration. And Einstein said everything's energy, and that's all there is to it. So, okay, where am I? If you're still listening. So, upper middle's the logo. That was doodled from a session with a Reiki master practitioner named, I call her Reverend K. And that's a story in and of itself. Very middle, it shows you the internet below the world. And the internet, as I said, it's very simple. You have the Genesis epoch, with the first oscillation. Look at lower left-hand acoustic phonon. The oscillations, well, the Genesis epoch is the start when you start recording or you start transmitting, what have you. Waveforms, your voice or data is superimposed and carried, encoded by the waveform. I'm not an electrical engineer, but that's how it works. And well, if you don't believe that, then you're in the wrong video. If you do believe that, you're in the right video. And what is the point of all this? Well, the point is to provide a foundation framework based on the foundation of the internet, which is epoch time intervals and the syntax that's processed or parsed during the time intervals, which is carrying state metadata stat snapshots, which that came from the military industrial complexes, system of complex systems, the federated systems, communication electronic command's greatest invention. That was funded at Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, where I just happened to be working. Part of the time I was a MITRE, MIT Research Extension employee. Total story in that. But to jump to end state, we're talking about a quantum financial system that's comprised of an index of real-world assets, statistical mean value index, derived from sampling across synchronized and stochastically harmonized time-space snapshots. And oh, by the way, I presented at the International Conference of Complex Systems, sponsored from MITRE and Harvard, two names you might recognize. A long time ago, but the internet cannot change and will not change because it is what it is. So the point, well, you have how the world really works. You have a relatively few number of ultra high net worth individuals who own and control the world. Some of them have 20, 30 corporations, like the owner of BMW, for example. Others have ownership or control of 2,000, and then not to name names. So they have one fulcrum point, or one, you could call it a vulnerability. It's is what it is. The jitter, or the percentage you take amongst the ultra high net worth individuals, families, we call them oligarchs. So they don't like friction amongst themselves. They cooperate until they don't. And then there's the rest of us, represented by the beacon communities at the bottom. The suggestion is the German word, if I even pronounce it right, Vernetzopperationsführung. I'm half German, but I don't really speak German, which is German for operations other than war. And what they're talking about is battlefield digitization, network-centric warfare used for, say, first response. And I extend their suggestion by saying, well, let's make a shared financial system that turns finances, the economy, into more of a utility than something that's owned and managed by a relatively few number of people. So the ultra high net worth oligarchs not going to change their modus operandi until there's a crisis, which is rapidly approaching. But in the meantime, we can attempt to federate or organize ourselves into trade federations, and we can use epoch time cycles, real world assets on the so-called blockchain, which doesn't exist, by the way. The blockchain's a metaphor. And blockchain it's unicast or broadcast, anycast, just like the internet always was. broadcasts of data of all types in epoch time cycles. That's what we have to work with. Very simple. We could have a very different world following a foundation framework that the Department of Defense established years ago. You see upper right-hand corner, hands. This is the German Army name for their suggestion to use battlefield digitization for operations other than war. And you can read shared situational awareness, IKEON finances. It can be about anything. It can be about environmental, ecological conditions, data, whatever. But we need to use some foundation framework now, or I guess we've already crossed the Rubicon. We either choose to do or not do, not to sound like Yoda. Here's a snapshot. It's not about me at all. On top is standing on the shoulders of giants to react to the Great Reset. Middle, that's a snapshot of battlefield digitization with some improvements. The goal, unify beacon communities or communities using the German Army suggestion that they made in 2003. What's the possibility? Well, unifying, coordinating universal time zone on an event basis. Satellites do that to a great extent. But there's event reporting that needs to be universal because, quite frankly, all the blockchain vendors and blockchains is really named for a distributed database. They're all doing the same things, creating their own syntax, their own protocols, or own processes, which is nice, good for them. But there has to be standardization. The Department of Defense has worked with standard organizations that tend to be in Switzerland, and they have for decades. So if there's going to be a one world unified anything anytime soon, well, if you know of another body of knowledge, processes and procedures that are pre-canned and working, ready to go, well, you know something that I don't. Currencies have, periodically they have to be reset. You know that. You can't back notional with notional. You can't back virtual paper with virtual paper. We're all going to find that out relatively quickly. Devaluation of currencies. Where's I'm looking for my Thomas Edison made a suggestion. Where are you, Thomas? Thomas Edison, where are you? I guess I bypassed him. Where'd you go, Thomas? Thomas Edison made a suggestion to back the value of currency with crops. In 1922, he and Henry Ford, to a lesser extent, was Edison's monetary option, which he proposed making an index of the value of crops to back the value of the currency. Why can't I find Thomas? Oh, here it is. Thomas Edison, here's one of his books. What you haven't heard of is his monetary option. The BRICS suggested index of commodities. Chairman ZXI stated that, then that seemed a bit been shuffled to the side. They're doing a stable coin. They're actually programming the Communist Party chairman's alma mater is programming a stable coin with a firm in Brooklyn, believe it or not. I don't think that's end state, and we're going to find out. Here's a recommendation to use the quantum financial system to reform, reshape, re-regulate the stock exchange, add non-repudiation to the mix. So you, in the wonderful world of naked short selling, a party can't say, well, no, that wasn't me. Using the NIST quantum random number beacon. This is an AI suggestion with a firm based in Williamsport. So here's my actual patent application graphics. It isn't as complex, and the graphics aren't quite as messy and fussy as you think they are. Very simple building blocks. You have epoch time cycles, then you have the basis of network-centric warfare, which has been in use for decades. We're talking about reuse of what already exists with some improvements. Blockchain doesn't exist. So if to achieve interoperability and to get your patent approved legitimately, then you need to state your patent in what actually exists, which is epochs, waveforms, and syntax. That simple. Algorithm. I have a whole section on algorithms, consensus algorithms. There's the Ripple, Byzantine fault tolerance. It's everyone has their own method of achieving concurrence. In reality, they all rely on the same building blocks. I have I guess about 20 different slides on different proofs, and I show the commonality amongst them. Time-weighted protocol, block-weighted average price, BWAP. Can do this all day. Here's what I stated at the initial. Some champions in the field and Tesla said, here's how the universe actually works. Here's using waveforms to enable a method of energy production, which was abandoned, like my patent application was also abandoned. But there's way more to the story than just being abandoned, by the way. And applications like this, they tend to get abandoned, shuffled to the side, purchased, or just, they get blocked at the router level, the Cisco router level, and they're just not propagated, and nobody hears about things like this. By design, there's metrics. This deals, I have an energy claim in my patent application. Here's some of my rationale. Fisher information flux flows. You can read. Temporal aspect is crucial, understanding how information builds up in a system over time. Some math that I'm not an expert in anything, certainly not math, but I'll assume that the International Space Federation have people smarter than me, and my assumption is that they have to follow Tesla was right. They have to follow Tesla and others, his observations and how he enabled our technology of our time and electricity. Lower left-hand corner, I keep saying the same thing. Foundation of the net of money, epochs, time cycles, syntax process during that time. More about waveforms. There's a slide on the acoustic phonon. Fermilab is doing quantum computing with sound waves, so refer to them. I'm just attempting to document it. Here's a whole kettle of worms. Bitcoin to $1 million, Eric Trump's announcement at the same time. Google's announcing that it can, its quantum chip will obviate computing. I say instead of having a us versus them, um, Bitcoin versus whatever, you communicate among systems using the new quantum financial system, which is based on sound waves, which Fermilab is doing outside of Chicago. Not rocket science, it's happening. It's just only a crisis brings change, as Milton Friedman told us before he passed in 2006. Here's about quantum physics. This is what happened to my patent application in a nutshell. I'm not going to get into that today. Here's a timeline. I recorded what I perceived what happened when screen captures of my own slides sent to me, and crumpling them on my slides, and you name it. Here's a little bit about the metaphysical musing. I live in Punxsutawney. I was born in Punxsutawney. Bill Murray based his movie Groundhog's Day here. Didn't film it here. He also had a movie called Limits of Control, which, to get back to the so what of this, if it wasn't for the limits of control and understanding that when one family or families position themselves uncomfortably far above the rest, then a protocol goes into place to strive towards equilibrium, is the basis of that movie. Otherwise, we may have a condition of the city of Ember between a conflict between oligarchs, which may or may not reside in different countries. City of Ember is the last city underground on Earth in a nuclear scenario. Bill Murray played the mayor, who was helping himself to the food while his underlings went without. A little bit of movie trivia there. The world game reset. Do we reset it as is, or we enable a new quantum financial system based on epoch, time cycles, syntax, and quantum financial system, quantum computing based on sound waves? Here's a snapshot of, I have a 207-page document, 208-page document that it's a listing of procedures, processes, tools, mostly derived from other people, OPW, other people's work. I'm just a scribe. Here I am, the scribe, kind of a timekeeper. I emphasize time. There's my picture, finally. I call myself Future Man because of the Hulu movie, the janitor who was tapped to save the world because of his expertise in video games. On the left's Borderlands 4 is the timekeeper. And in the middle, upper middle, that's snapshots of my patent application replacement graphics, which I had to replace when my graphics got crumpled. My question is, since I submitted the patent electronically, why not just print new graphics from the electronic copy? But no, that didn't happen. There's my business card, and I'll stop the recording now.